What's up, YouTube? Oh, looks like I gotta delete stuff off my memory card because I have 11 minutes left on this phone. Anyways, where did I leave off last? I did the clocking adapters, but what you got here is I had to take off the valve cover because I was doing the rocker arm stoppers, and I ended up getting the high temp heat spray, and then I did a couple coats of clear, waiting for this to cure because it's cold as fuck. And it takes a long time for paint to cure, so I brought it in and put it on the dining room table for a little bit to let it dry. But yeah, there's that. So I don't know if I showed, but I ended up putting in the clocking, or fucking A, I'm way all over the place. Anyways, I put the rocker arm stoppers on there. If you don't know what the rocker arm stoppers are, it's what I explained in the last video, if you haven't watched, is that your rocker arms slowly go up and down with the camshafts and the valves, and the rocker arms kind of go out of place, and this piece here keeps it from, you know, fucking flying out the valve cover and then ping-ponging everywhere. So that's good. I can go at a higher RPM and be a little bit more safer. So there was that. And the reason why I ended up painting my valve cover is because all these bolts here that I took off were, you know, the original factory bolts, and I had to cut them, or I had to cut two in order to take the valve cover off, which kind of sucked, and I had to cut those because I wanted to put these rocker arms in. So a whole lot of stuff I have to do in order to do what I want to do, but while I'm there, I might as well upgrade. So I got a bolt, or a dress-up bolt kit, which replaces these OEM studs and washers. The OEM studs and washers are like $200, but I got a different set that's a little bit cheaper. So while that's off and I'm waiting for that to get in the mail, I went ahead and changed my spark plugs with some brand new spark plugs. And I also have to double check the seal on my valve cover to make sure that those are sealing correctly, because when I pulled out one or two, I saw some oil on my spark plugs. So if you ever pull out your spark plugs and there's a little bit of oil, it could be for a couple reasons. One, your valve cover gasket is not torqued down to spec, so that gasket isn't making a proper seat, or you have like a weird valve issue, or your head gasket or whatever. So that's how you can get oil in that. So today, as we speak, I'm getting the power steering line in, so I'm going to go ahead and remove this. I did receive my lines for my coolant, so those are in. I tied in the water and then put in the water next so that it didn't dribble down all down the garage floor. Yeah, there's that. And these are the grommets I was referring to. These are new from when I did the swap, so I'm going to maintain and keep these guys. And then I think this one was for the center, so I'd like to keep it all in order the way that it was. And then I went ahead and did some touch up on my intercooler thing here because it was faded a little bit. So let's go ahead. And I still have to sand off the Nissan part. So that's going to be right there. So that's looking pretty nifty and clean. It's going to look pretty good when that's all sanded off. And I did also, well, before that, I got my turbo line stuff, so all this is pretty much ready to slap on the car as soon as I install that correctly. So there's a couple studs on this turbo downpipe. Hopefully I can squeeze this back out like I pulled that one out. I'm still iffy about that, and I have to figure out the routing of my lines. But anyways, I found a new terminal block for my battery. So what I did, in case you don't know, is I took a 1 to 0 gauge wire and got a 4, it's basically a 1 to 0 gauge to 4 gauge reducer. And then I plugged that into this terminal block, which is a little bit better. So electrical tape, proper torque specs, goes from the battery, goes to the fuse box, and this goes to the alarm, etc., etc. I can still clean up a bunch of other stuff, but this is just an update. So as of now, I'm waiting for my power steering high pressure hose. As soon as the power steering hose gets in, I'm going to work out that turbo elbow I got. Then I'm going to put the valve cover back on, tidy it all up, add my power steering fluid, add some oil, add some coolant, and then give it a go. And then we should be set. turbo, upgraded turbo, and then I'll have to worry about the tuning and all that stuff with the ECU and all that stuff. So pretty neat. Anyways, that's an update. Mr. Dude 206. I'll check you guys out on the next one. And for those that are following this, thanks for watching. And like always, do your taxes and vagina. Peace.